Throughout the centuries, the concepts of past lives and reincarnation have existed in many cultures and religions, from the East to the West. While there is no solid scientific proof to confirm it, the belief in reincarnation has remained strong in the human psyche. So could it be that we've actually lived before? Could those vague memories, strange feelings of familiarity, or unexplainable connections with people and places be signs of a past life? Many people around the world have experienced inexplicable events, and these signs may lead you to wonder if your soul has truly lived through another life. Perhaps you feel a sense of familiarity with places you've never been, or notice special skills you can't explain. Even powerful emotions, like a deep connection with someone or an irrational fear of things that have no relation to your current experience, could be signs of a past life. Today, we will explore 9 distinct signs that could help you recognize if you've lived another life. These signs aren't just vague feelings or random coincidences. They are real, tangible experiences shared by many people across the world. Have you ever gone through any of these? Let's dive in and discover more in this video. Our subconscious is a powerful entity. It holds memories, emotions, and experiences that are often outside of our conscious awareness. During the waking hours, we focus on the present and the future, while the subconscious quietly absorbs and stores information, both from this life and, some believe, from past lives. This reservoir of forgotten memories is available to us when we dream, and during sleep, the mind has the opportunity to process and release emotions that have remained dormant for years, or perhaps even centuries. Have you ever woken up from a dream and felt like you were reliving a memory from a past life? You might have found yourself in a place you've never been, interacting with people you've never met, or even living a life that is completely different from your own. The sensation is often overwhelming, and it lingers long after you've awoken, almost as if the dream holds a truth that your conscious mind is yet to understand. Recurring dreams, especially those that are vivid, intense, and filled with intricate details, may be more than just fleeting thoughts of the mind. They could very well be windows into past lives, offering us a glimpse of experiences and emotions we've carried over from another time. The phenomenon of recurring dreams is fascinating because they don't follow the same rules as ordinary dreams. Unlike those that vanish as soon as we wake, recurring dreams have a tendency to repeat themselves, often with a sense of familiarity. That feels unsettling. They may take you to places you've never seen before, yet everything about them, down to the smallest detail, seems intensely familiar. You might even experience feelings or emotions that seem more genuine and intense than those of everyday life. This repetition could indicate that these dreams are not merely random constructs of the brain, but rather significant memories buried deep in your subconscious, memories that are tied to past experiences you may not even be aware of. Perhaps you dream of a time long past where you were a soldier in a distant war or a merchant in an ancient city. Maybe you feel an intense fear or sadness that you cannot explain, but it feels deeply rooted in something you cannot fully grasp. These emotions and experiences may be your soul's way of processing unresolved issues from another lifetime, issues that may still be influencing your current life in ways you don't understand. Recurring dreams, then, are not just fragments of imagination, but rather, they could be meaningful echoes of the past, offering us a chance to heal and grow. Ultimately, the connection between recurring dreams and past lives remains a mystery, but the possibility that they are glimpses of experiences we've lived before is a tantalizing one. By paying attention to the patterns in our dreams and keeping track of their recurring elements, we may begin to unlock the secrets of our soul's journey and understand the deeper truths that lie beneath our waking consciousness. Ovidius, one of the 3 great poets of Latin literature, is remembered for his influence on Roman poetry. He was the first Roman poet to begin his career under the reign of Emperor Augustus. While Ovidius is often celebrated for his rich contributions to literature, he also touched on a phenomenon that is strikingly similar to what we now know as déjà vu. In his writings, he suggested that our souls are immortal and undergo cycles of life and death, each time transitioning into new bodies. He wrote, "The soul is immortal. When it leaves its previous place, it lives in a new one and inhabits the body that has received it. I believe that at the time of the Trojan War, my previous life was as Euphorbus, the son of Panthous. Recently, when I visited the Temple of Juno at Argos, the city of Abbas, I recognized the shield that in my past life I had worn on my left arm. This profound reflection brings us closer to the modern concept of déjà vu, a feeling that has perplexed humanity for centuries. Most of us have experienced that strange sensation of familiarity when doing something for the first time, when you find yourself in a place you swear you've been before, or having a conversation that feels oddly familiar. While we know logically this isn't possible, the feeling is undeniable. In fact, studies suggest that nearly 2/3 of people will experience déjà vu at least once in their lifetime. But why does this occur? What's happening in our minds when we experience it? Throughout history, people have often tried to explain déjà vu by connecting it to their own beliefs and experiences. The phenomenon has been interpreted in various ways, depending on the cultural, philosophical, or psychological lens one views it through. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, suggested that déjà vu might be a reflection of repressed desires. According to Freud, this feeling arises when the unconscious mind attempts to resolve past memories or suppressed emotions. The uncanny familiarity of a situation is thought to represent a hidden desire or unresolved issue from the past that surfaces in the present. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, offered a different interpretation, proposing that déjà vu is linked to the collective unconscious. According to Jung, this unconscious mind shared by all humans holds memories, images, and symbols inherited from our ancestors. For Jung, déjà vu could be a manifestation of this deep, shared well of knowledge, allowing individuals to briefly tap into experiences or emotions that aren't their own, but belong to the collective human experience. Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, also proposed a fascinating theory about déjà vu that aligns with the idea of past lives. He believed that our souls existed before our physical bodies, living in another form before being born into our current lives. In Plato's view, déjà vu was evidence of our souls remembering moments from past lives, echoes of experiences, long forgotten but still etched in our consciousness. This belief in the immortality of the soul and reincarnation has been passed down through many cultures, influencing how we interpret phenomena like déjà vu. Interestingly, Ovidius's reflection about recognizing a shield from his past life during a visit to the Temple of Juno mirrors Plato's theory. His claim that he was once Euphorbus, a character in the Trojan War, points to a belief in the continuity of the soul across different incarnations. For Ovidius, this sense of recognition from a past life wasn't merely a coincidence or fantasy. It was a moment of remembering something deeply significant, a memory not of this life, but from another time altogether. The modern scientific understanding of déjà vu still remains largely inconclusive. Some researchers believe it's a result of the brain's memory system working incorrectly, causing a current experience to overlap with a past one that we don't consciously recall. This explanation suggests that déjà vu is simply a momentary glitch in the brain's ability to process and categorize information. However, despite scientific attempts to explain it, the emotional weight and philosophical implications of déjà vu persist. Whether it is a connection to past lives, a glimpse into the unconscious, or just a cognitive blip, it is a deeply personal and often uncanny experience that makes us wonder about the mysteries of the mind, the soul, and our existence beyond this life. Thus, when Ovidius spoke of his soul's journey through different lives, he wasn't simply crafting a poetic notion. He was offering an early glimpse into what many would later understand as the déjà vu phenomenon. The sensation of recognizing something from a life we don't consciously remember continues to captivate and mystify us, urging us to explore the possibility that there is more to our experiences than meets the eye. Have you ever experienced a fear that seems to have no rational explanation? Maybe you're paralyzed by a fear of water, despite never having a bad experience with it. Or perhaps the thought of being at a great height fills you with dread, even though you've never fallen or been in danger. If you've ever wondered where these intense and irrational fears come from, there's a fascinating theory that suggests they might be linked to past lives. According to the theory of past lives, the emotional scars of traumatic experiences can carry over into our present lives, even if we have no conscious memory of them. For instance, if you drowned in a past life, It's possible that your fear of water in this life is a result of that trauma, even though you don't consciously remember the event. The subconscious mind doesn't forget those deep emotional imprints, and they can manifest in ways we don't fully understand, like an overwhelming fear of water or heights. Since your conscious mind is not aware of these past experiences, the trauma resurfaces as anxiety or a phobia in this lifetime. This can be unsettling because the fear feels so real, yet it has no basis in your current life's experiences. What makes this theory particularly compelling is that many people report having deep, irrational fears or aversions that seem to have no logical origin, yet they can vividly recall dreams or experiences that feel strikingly familiar, as if they are remnants of another life. The idea that our current fears might be linked to past life traumas is a thought-provoking perspective, suggesting that we are more than just the sum of our current experiences. We may be carrying echoes of the past that continue to influence our present. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant, unexplainable bond, as if you've known them your whole life, even though you've just met? It's one of those strange moments that can make you stop and wonder, how is this possible? According to reincarnation theories, souls may travel together through multiple lifetimes, forming deep connections that transcend time. These connections, often felt as if they've existed for centuries, could explain why some relationships feel so familiar or intense from the very first meeting. In some cases, these bonds are positive and comforting, like the feeling of meeting a soulmate or kindred spirit. The connection is immediate, effortless, and natural, as though you've simply picked up where you left off in a past life. These connections can bring a sense of peace, understanding, and mutual respect, as though you've known this person for far longer than just this one lifetime. However, not all past life connections are pleasant. Sometimes you may meet someone and instantly feel a sense of tension or discomfort, even without a clear reason why. This could be a sign of unresolved conflicts or negative experiences shared in a previous life. These unresolved issues can manifest as immediate dislike or even a feeling of animosity, as though something is unspoken but deeply felt. The intensity of the reaction might seem irrational in the present moment, but according to reincarnation beliefs, it may stem from old wounds or misunderstandings that have carried over into this lifetime. The idea that our souls are linked across lifetimes, carrying both positive and negative experiences, offers an intriguing explanation for these inexplicable feelings. It suggests that our relationships are not just formed in this lifetime, but rather are shaped by a much deeper and longer history, one that extends well beyond the present moment. Have you ever come across someone who suddenly starts speaking a language they've never learned or even been exposed to? It sounds almost impossible, yet there are documented cases of people speaking foreign languages fluently, sometimes even without ever having studied them. This phenomenon, known as xenoglossy, has intrigued both believers and skeptics alike. While it remains a topic of debate within scientific circles, there are numerous accounts of individuals who suddenly exhibit the ability to understand and speak languages that seem entirely foreign to them. What makes xenoglossy particularly fascinating is the idea that it could offer a glimpse into something far beyond the normal scope of human experience, possibly providing evidence of past lives. According to reincarnation theories, the knowledge and skills we acquire in one life might not simply disappear when we pass away. Instead, these abilities could carry over into future lives, hidden deep within our subconscious. In the case of language, it's possible that the knowledge of a language learned in a past life could resurface unexpectedly in the present. While scientific explanations often point to the possibility of subconscious learning or prior exposure to the language in some form, the idea that xenoglossy could be proof of past life experiences adds a layer of mystery. Some cases involve individuals speaking languages that they have no apparent connection to, languages spoken centuries ago or in regions far removed from their current life. This raises the intriguing possibility that the mind might retain fragments of knowledge from past incarnations, revealing a deeper, more complex connection between time, memory, and the human soul. The idea that we could carry the memory of a past life's language adds an exciting dimension to our understanding of consciousness and its potential to transcend time. Have you ever found yourself picking up a new skill with ease, as if you've done it before, or suddenly knowing something without having studied it. It's as if the knowledge was already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. Some people believe that this could be evidence of skills and knowledge carrying over from past lives. It's an intriguing idea. What if the things you've mastered in this life are not entirely new to you, but rather remnants of talents you developed in previous incarnations? One of the most compelling examples of this phenomenon can be seen in child prodigies. These are children who show extraordinary abilities, such as mastering musical instruments or learning languages fluently, often without any formal training. While science might explain this through heightened cognitive abilities or early exposure, some proponents of past life theories argue that these prodigies are simply tapping into skills and knowledge they acquired in previous lives. A child who can play the violin like a seasoned musician or speak a language they've never been taught may be accessing a forgotten reservoir of talent from a past existence. Beyond prodigies, many people experience a strong, almost instinctive pull towards certain interests, careers, or cultures. You might feel inexplicably drawn to a particular craft, like painting or woodworking, even though you've never tried it before. Or perhaps you feel an affinity for a profession, like medicine or architecture, despite having no formal training in those fields. It's almost as if these pursuits already feel familiar, like something you've already experienced or lived in another time. This feeling of déjà vu with certain skills or professions could be a sign that your soul has carried over these talents from another lifetime. The idea that we carry the imprint of past lives within us offers a fascinating explanation for how we develop certain abilities so effortlessly. It suggests that our journey through different lifetimes may not only shape our experiences, but also leave us with an innate understanding of skills, crafts, and knowledge that transcend time. Whether it's a musical gift, a deep-seated interest in a particular culture, or an uncanny ability to learn, these talents might be far older than we realize, and perhaps they are just waiting for us to remember. Have you ever felt an unexplainable pull toward a particular culture, country, or historical era? Maybe you're inexplicably drawn to ancient Egypt, medieval Europe, or the rich traditions of Asia, even though you've never had any direct exposure to them. It's as if something within you resonates with these places and times, and you can't quite put your finger on why. This strong emotional connection might not just be coincidental. It could be a clue that you lived a past life in that era or region, carrying with you memories or feelings that transcend time. For some people, these connections go beyond just a fascination with certain historical periods or cultural practices. The connection can feel so deep that it almost seems like a return to something familiar. A person might visit a foreign country for the first time, only to feel as though they've been there before, walking through its streets with a sense of belonging. Others may develop an intense passion for a particular art form, language, or tradition that feels ingrained in their being, even though they've never had formal exposure to it. These experiences can be overwhelming, as if the soul recognizes something from a previous life. Take, for example, people who are drawn to ancient Egypt. They might find themselves captivated by the pyramids, the art, and the stories of pharaohs and gods. Some even report vivid dreams or feelings of déjà vu when exploring Egyptian history. The intense emotional response to a civilization that no longer exists could point to a connection that goes beyond curiosity or academic interest. Could it be that, in a past life, they lived during the time of the pharaohs, witnessing the grand architecture, the rituals, or even the powerful reigns of ancient rulers? Similarly, some individuals find themselves fascinated by medieval Europe, with its castles, knights, and chivalric codes. The idea of this era, its battles, its culture, and its intense religious conflicts may stir something inside them. For some, it's a particular historical figure, a battle, or a place that feels oddly familiar. They may experience vivid flashbacks in their dreams or find themselves feeling an overwhelming sense of familiarity when they visit certain old castles or landmarks. This emotional resonance with a bygone era may be more than a fascination. It could be a lingering memory of a past life spent in that time. In many cases, this connection to a distant time or place can also manifest in a deep emotional attachment to cultural practices or traditions. People may be drawn to specific Asian philosophies, art forms, or spiritual practices, despite having no background in them. They might feel at peace while meditating in a style they've never formally learned, or find a sense of purpose in pursuing a traditional craft or way of life that feels deeply familiar. These interests can feel so natural, almost as though they were part of their life in a previous incarnation. What makes these connections even more intriguing is that they often occur without any prior exposure or rational explanation. It's not simply a matter of reading a book, watching a documentary, or being told about these cultures. The feeling of being connected to these places and times comes from a much deeper, almost instinctive recognition. It's as if a part of you, a part of your soul, has lived there before, experienced that culture, and is now remembering those long-forgotten pieces of your identity. Could these inexplicable feelings be evidence of past lives? Many people who experience these deep connections believe that our souls continue to evolve through multiple lifetimes. In each life, we might accumulate different experiences, skills, and memories, only for them to surface again in future incarnations. These strong emotional ties to certain places and eras could be remnants of these past lives, memories embedded in the soul that, for whatever reason, are now resurfacing in the present. The resonance we feel with certain cultures, historical periods, or traditions may not just be coincidence. It may be the echo of a life lived long ago, reminding us of where we've been and who we once were. The idea of past lives and their influence on our present reality challenges our understanding of time and consciousness. If these connections are real, they offer a fascinating perspective on the continuity of the soul and the idea that our lives are not just one isolated journey, but rather a long, complex story woven across multiple lifetimes. The next time you feel that unexplainable connection to a place or era, consider the possibility that it might be a whisper from your past self, a reminder of the experiences you've carried with you through time. Some people believe that certain physical traits or sensations we experience in this life, such as birthmarks, recurring pain, or phantom sensations, could be connected to injuries or wounds from past lives. For instance, a birthmark on your chest might correspond to a fatal wound sustained in a previous incarnation. This idea suggests that the body can carry the imprint of past trauma, even if we don't consciously remember the event itself. Some individuals claim to experience pain or discomfort in areas of their bodies that don't have any apparent cause, leading them to speculate that these sensations are echoes from another life. This theory extends beyond just physical pain. Some people report feeling sensations that seem completely out of place for their current body, like the weight of long hair or the pressure of clothing that they've never worn. These experiences often happen when they think about certain periods in history, and it can feel as though their body is responding to a time they've never physically lived through. For example, a woman might suddenly feel the weight of a long, flowing gown or a corset, even though she's never worn such garments in her current life. Similarly, someone may feel an inexplicable pressure on their neck or shoulders, as if they were carrying the weight of armor or a heavy garment from an earlier era. These sensations and physical traits, while mysterious, suggest that our bodies could retain memories of past experiences, not just our minds. The idea that past life traumas or experiences leave imprints on our physical form offers a fascinating explanation for why we sometimes feel these strange connections to things we've never directly encountered in this lifetime. It challenges our understanding of time and memory, opening the door to the possibility that we are carrying far more than just our current life story. Have you ever experienced a feeling of being out of place, as if you were meant for another time or another world? It's an unsettling sensation, like you're a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit into the modern world around you. Many people who recall past lives often describe a sense of disconnection from contemporary society, as though they were born in the wrong era or even the wrong place. They might feel a longing for a simpler, more meaningful way of life, one that's in tune with the rhythms of the past. If you've ever had this feeling, it could be a sign that your soul carries memories from a past life. The idea that our consciousness and experiences transcend individual lifetimes suggests that we don't start with a blank slate when we're born. Instead, we may carry fragments of memories, emotions, or desires from earlier incarnations that influence how we see the world. For some, these memories might surface as an inexplicable nostalgia for a time, culture, or way of life that feels strangely familiar, but is completely out of reach in the present. Perhaps you've always felt drawn to a certain historical period or culture, even though you've never lived through it. Maybe you find modern technology or fast-paced living overwhelming, preferring the simplicity of a different time. These feelings could be your soul's way of reconnecting with a life you once lived, where things were different, slower, more deliberate, and perhaps more in alignment with your inner self. If you've ever felt like you don't quite fit in, it might not be because something is wrong with you, but because your soul is remembering a different time and place, one that shaped you long before this life. Many people believe that each individual has only one life, while others share the view that humans can experience multiple lifetimes. What about you? Do you believe in reincarnation or past lives? Have you ever experienced any of the signs we shared in the video above? Feel free to leave a comment or share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video, please like, subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel for more content on wisdom, spirituality, and personal growth. Or if you have time, check out other videos on this channel. Until next time.